And hopefully you were able to catch that beautiful in-studio interview with Heartless Bastards just a few moments ago. And we are now joined, and very excited to be joined by Craig Finn, both of whom, Craig Finn and Heartless Bastards, going to be taking the stage tonight out at the Record Bar. Craig, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. If you're not already familiar with Craig, due to his solo work, you're probably familiar with him as the front person for the Hold Steady. And he has, Teeth Dreams just came out a year ago, and being true to classic Craig Finn style, he just doesn't stop writing. And so he's got a solo effort coming out now. We're playing the new track called Neumeyer's Roof. The new album going to be Faith in the Future, out on Partisan Records in September. And it's a very meaningful date, September 11th. And if you haven't heard the lyrics to Neumeyer's Roof and you haven't paid attention to the lyrics of Neumeyer's Roof, can you tell us, in very, again, classic Craig Finn style, taking on a very potentially daunting subject. Can you tell us about that song?
Yeah, Neumeyer's Roof, I moved in from Minneapolis to New York in September 2000. So a year later, I was there for 9/11, and I went up to my friend's Chris Neumeyer, who was my friend and my boss. We went up to his roof to watch the towers, see what we could see, and saw them burn and eventually collapse. And strangely, at one point he turned to me and said, "Do you want to get some beers?" So we said, we're drinking beer while we watched on his roof. And keep in mind, this is 9:30 in the morning while we watched the towers collapse. And that sounds very detached and strange, but I think the point is that in these big moments, there's not an easy emotion to access. And that's one part of the story. The second part of the story is there was a girl on the 33rd floor of the first tower. And when the plane hit the tower, they told her to stay exactly where she was. And she didn't like that. So she left, and she walked down the stairs and went out on the street. And she saw things she didn't want to see, but she walked away from the building, and like the rest of us, did her best to get on with her life. And I think for a lot of people in New York, those next 4 or 5 years were kind of lived in a little bit of darkness, especially looking back. But some years later, I went to a birthday party, and I met this girl, and we talked all night, and we fell in love, and we're still together. So every time I sing the song, it's kind of about being glad she didn't do what they told her to do, but also having faith in the future, as the record title is, and thinking there will be light after darkness, and things better to come.
Silver lining. Can we?
Yeah, I'm going to do the song. There were the same bloodsuckers in the lobby again, and when they called my name, I waved. I thought they might be my old friends. They had the cross in the car, they had the pig in the pound. I was in the bathroom, doing my best to a sound. Doubting Thomas says the party supplies. He said he likes how it looks when I roll back my eyes. Sent a car to collect me. When the driver dropped me off at the lot, he said he'd never forget me. The publicist picked up lunch again. I had a Pabst and some pemmican. She said, "Man, you're so damn American." Doubting Thomas had his eyebrows raised. He said he liked me much better when I was walking away. Never been crucified, I never suffered or died, I never been shot, I've been lied to a lot. Yeah, well, hotel lobby, late night TV, you're either up on the lights or you're down on your knees. Blood in my hand, ash in my wine. See how I get anxious sometimes, nails in my hand, blood in my eyes. I feel pretty cool, but I know I look fried. All these tall tales and one tiny truth. Saw the towers go down from up on Neumeyer's roof. Yeah, we were frightened. Yeah, we were drinking. It was all so confusing. Doubting Thomas went and talked to the cops. He said this sure feels like an inside job. No, I've never been crucified, I never suffered or died. I've never been shot, but I've been lied to a lot. Well, hotel bar got the game on TV. You're either up in the lights or you're out on the streets. Yeah, we always want more, but we get what we need. I saw your girl at the movies. She seems pretty sweet. Thomas says a cynical take. He said the more you destroy, the more that you make. No, I've never been crucified, I never suffered or died, never been shot, but I've been lied to a lot. Well, look at these mountains, look at these trees. Tom, there must be something you believe. Well, look at these mountains, look at these trees. Tom, there must be something you believe. Well, Tom, there must be something. Tom, there must be something. Tom, there must be something you believe. Tom, there must be something. Tom, there must be something. Tom, there must be something you believe.
It's a beautiful live rendition of Neumayer's Roof. We're joined live in studio today by Craig Finn, who's going to be taking the stage tonight out at the Record Bar with Heartless Bastards. And the single, Neumayer's Roof, going to be featured on the full-length album, Faith in the Future, which is coming out in September. But you also have this new project, which is the Neumayer's Roof EP.
Yeah. Basically, if you pre-order the record, which you can do now, you get delivered an EP. We started recording songs last year. Me and the guys that made the record were the producer, Josh Kaufman, and the drummer, Joe Russo. And we didn't really have a plan. I just had these songs I wanted to record. And we ended up, at the end of the year, with 16 songs. So it's a 10-song record, but I really liked some of the other songs. And for instance, the song Erica from Heartless Bastards sang on is called 3 Drinks.
I love that track.
It's a great song. I love it. And I couldn't figure out where to put it on the record. So I was really happy to have the EP to get it so people could hear it. And there's a kind of a fun pre-order campaign. So you get the EP, but there's also some chance to do other things.
Well, it's a Pledge Music.
Yeah, it's through Pledge, which we did a Pledge campaign for the Hold Steady for a fan club to raise money for a charity. And I was a little nervous about it at first. This is last year, but the unintended benefit is we started doing things like sharing a 6-pack with the fans. I went running with some fans. We'd run 3 miles, and it really had the what I found is it really kind of strengthened the community around the band, and the community around music is one of the most important things to me. Certainly, the Hold Steady, it's all about being inclusive, and I think things just became very fun. So it was like, it's a lot to administrate, but it's still, it's like if one day I got up in San Francisco and ran across the Golden Gate Bridge with a fan. And it was like, well, that was a great way to spend my day rather than sitting on the bus and, checking my email every 30 seconds. So it's a kind of a fun thing that I really like doing.
Well, and in addition to that, we were talking actually before the mics went on about how you had, if you look at this pledge music thing, you get a lot of different cool items like Craig was speaking to, but you took the pictures for the EP?
Yeah, well, no, my friend did, but we went up to, we revisited Neumeyer's roof where I watched 9/11. And it's not an open roof anymore. They've closed it, but we bribed the super. And because I wanted some photos and to look back at where the towers had been. And strangely, 2 days later, two of the buildings in the photo exploded and collapsed because of a gas leak. So I'm not going to go up on that roof again. But it just seems like every time I'm up there, something bad happens. But it was interesting to be back up there for the first time in 14 years,
right?
13 years.
Well, if you get a chance as a fan to check out the EP, Neumeyer's Roof EP, it has 4 songs. 4 of those songs, as Craig mentioned, aren't going to be on the full length when it comes out in September. Neumeyer's Roof will be. But I normally stray away from these questions because songs are so subjective, I understand, but They Know Where I Live.
Uh-huh.
Can you speak to that track, please?
Yeah, I can play it too.
Awesome.
Well, I have this kind of rap I do on stage about that song, and I think the biggest fears, as we all have as people, is the fear of the unknown. And, all of our biggest fears kind of fall into that general heading. I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, and when you grow up there, your biggest fear, the fear of the unknown takes on the specific fear of dudes from St. Paul. There's always some tough guys in St. Paul. I don't know, that's probably not true, but, since especially before you had your driver's license, that seemed really far away. And, there was these guys from St. Paul going to come over and beat you up. And so you always there was always a fear of guys from St. Paul. So that's the song, They Know Where I Live. Should I play it?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
When those dudes from St. Paul pulled into your driveway, you suggested we hide in the basement. You said, don't make a sound. And when those dudes from St. Paul were pissing on your front lawn, we were watching out the window. You said breathe through your nose. They circled the house for a while, and then they got bored. The next time we checked, they had left. They left us alone. When those dudes from St. Paul were hitting your front door with a hammer, you said very little. I think I heard you say a prayer. And I think it's time that you told me what's happening. It's not every person that invites you to a party, that asks you to pretend like there's nobody there. They left a note on the hood of your car. They broke your windshield with a brick, and then they left. They left us alone. They know that we're friends, and they know where I live, and that's why I'm scared. That's why I'm scared to go home. That's why I'm scared to go home. 'Cause they know where I live.
That's a great track. If you're just tuning in, we're joined in studio by Craig Finn. He's got a solo work coming out in September called Faith in the Future, though he's got a 5-song EP out right now called Neumeyer's Roof, and They Know Where I Live featured on that EP. If you want to check it out, pledgemusic.com. And I do believe it's like /Craig Finn, or if you just go to pledgemusic.com, you can click on Craig Finn, who's on the front page. You had a solo effort out before, Clear Heart, Full Eyes. That's your first solo work that you'd put out. And in preparation for that, I guess you tried to essentially write one song every day. Was that the same kind of process for this one, or how did you go?
Yeah, this one I actually, it kind of came out of a period where I was kind of trying to work. I had some, my mom passed away, and I came back to Brooklyn after that, and I was really trying to keep busy, to try to work through it, kind of through grief and whatnot. So I started trying to write a song. I kind of go through these periods where I sort of force myself to write at least a song a day. And then if, what happens is you end up with a few good ones and a lot of bad ones, but at least you end up with the good ones. If you wait for inspiration to strike, you have nothing usually. So right. I really like working that way, and that's kind of come by. I don't do it every day all year, but I go through these periods. Like this year, I did it during Lent. I wrote a song every day for Lent, and I'm still not sure what I'm going to do with that batch of songs, but there are 45 songs, and a few of them are pretty good.
That's awesome. And I'm a little envious. In addition to that, though, so you're known for your very clear-cut kind of storytelling, and you're steeped in literary elements, right? Like everything that you read about you, there's always some mention about what you're reading or what you're into, and there's been talk about you wanting to write a novel. Though I imagine the process of writing a novel and the process of writing lyrics is probably very different.
Yeah, there's a lot you get to leave out when you write lyrics. You're almost kind of like searching, I think, for the perfect amount of what to say and what not to say. And I think a novel, you say a lot more. I've had some attempts at a novel that kind of ended poorly. I think also being in a band, you bring in a song to the guys and you're like, would you like it? And everyone's like, yeah, that's great. In a novel, you can kind of get 30,000 words in and say, oh, I think this might be terrible. Oh, no. And then throw it out, which has happened.
Has that happened? Yeah. So are you going to continue to try to do that? Or?
Yeah, I don't, but I don't, there's no concrete schedule. I'd certainly like to leave a novel behind, but I certainly have ideas, but I haven't done it yet. I really am envious of people who've done that.
Well, we look forward to it when and if it happens.
Yeah.
Let it be out there, right? Can we get another song from you?
Sure. This is actually this is a song that's going to be on Faith in the Future, but it's a much different, sort of a sadder version. It's called Maggie, I've Been Searching for Our Son. Well, there's a darkness in my body, and I think I might be ready. Maggie, I've been searching for our son. There's a big hole in my thinking. Lately I've been seeing things. Maggie, I've been searching for our son. If you're down and out, if you still have any doubts, if you doubt that there's a Savior yet to come, stop what you're doing, close your eyes and keep on breathing. Slowly turn your face up to the sun. It was warm in Arizona, it was cold in Colorado. Maggie, I've been searching for our son. There were crosses on the altar, there was gold in El Dorado. Maggie, I got blisters on my thumbs, and if you're all strung out, if you still have any doubts, if you doubt that there's a rapture yet to come, hey, pick up the paper, see the stories and the pictures. The kid went to the movies with a gun. Well, there's a house out in the desert, and I lived there with some people. Maggie, that guy said he was our savior, but once he took our women and turned us into his soldiers, he had a patch of radical behavior, and the ATF were belligerent. There were handcuffed girls with barely any clothes. There was power in their numbers. There was silver in their holsters. The trucks as they rolled slowly up the road. There's a darkness in my body, and I think I might be ready. So if you're stuck down south, if you still have any doubts, if you doubt that there's a heaven yet to come, well, there's a darkness in my body, and I think I might be ready. Maggie, I've been searching for our son. Maggie, I'm still searching for our son.
Absolutely beautiful track from Craig Finn, who is joining us in studio today live, getting ready to take the stage tonight out at the Record Bar with Heartless Bastards. And Maggie, I've been searching for our son. That's the title.
Yeah.
And that is going to be featured on Faith in the Future, which is coming out in September. It's a full-length solo project. So you're out on tour with Heartless Bastards right now. You just played Minneapolis, which was a little bit of a homecoming, yeah? Yeah,
always a homecoming. Not only Minneapolis, but First Avenue, the club there, is kind of an important place for me developmentally. I spent a lot of time there as a kid at the all ages shows, and really, the staff is sort of extended family at this point, and it's a lot of fun to go through. It's hard to go through in the middle of tour, though. You kind of come in for a night, and you're like pulled in a lot of different directions, but still a lot of fun to be there. We had a I think both bands had a great show there that night.
You're going back this weekend, though, right, for Fourth?
I'm going to see the Dillinger 4,
Nice.
One of my favorite bands, and my old band Lifter Puller used to play with them a lot, and they are turning 21.
How long has it been since you've seen them?
I think I've seen them in like 2003. So, but they've gotten down to where they pretty much play on the 4th of July, which they call D4th of July.
Right.
But this one's a special, big blowout with a lot of bands, and I couldn't miss it.
There's kind of this trio of like Minneapolis groups, right? So when I think of, well, there are a lot.
Yeah.
I say that I'm going to get in trouble, right? But in this kind of realm anyway, so let's say like you really grew up having a big respect for the Replacements and also Husker Du. And then there's you, and I know you guys have collaborated. There are like documentaries and things out there where you've both all been asked to kind of like represent the Twin Cities. But has there ever been any talk of you getting together as a musical project?
I've kind of done a tribute to Bob Mould before,
right.
and certainly hung out with all those guys, but I don't know. There's a lot of songwriters, and like I don't know if there's a lot of supporting players for that. But it is a cool scene, and coming up and being a little younger than bands like The Replacements, Husker Du, Soul Sound, Jayhawks, it meant a lot to me when they kind of became friends and sort of acknowledged me as a writer and a player, and that was very cool for me.
Well, Craig, it's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Well, thanks for having me.
And thank you as always for coming in. Again, don't forget tonight, it's going to be awesome. Craig Finn and Heartless Bastards out at the Record Bar. Really looking forward to Faith in the Future in September. Awesome. And again, check out that EP, New Meyer's Roof, by going to pledgemusic.com. Thanks again. Craig Finn right here on The Bridge.
Thanks for having me.